Hey everybody, it's Gary Vaynerchuk, and here we are with the November Wine Club, the Gary V Wine Club. Thank you so much for being part of the second month of the Wine Club, and I'm really excited about this month for several reasons, but first and foremost, because this is one of my favorite months of the year. Number one, I'm born in November. Number two, my new sneaker comes out in November. Pick that up at your local sneaker store. But more importantly, number three, Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is the prime wine holiday in my opinion. Christmas obviously very much so, but Thanksgiving more. It's all about food, 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 and more in America, it's about wine, wine, wine. Now Zinfandels and Rieslings have been some of the varietals that have dominated through the last 20 years of wine culture in Thanksgiving, and obviously the Beaujolais Nouveau, the bottle with the flowers on it that so many of you have drank through the years, the decades. But what I wanted to focus on this month was a real strategy around, okay, I've got a lot of friends on this list, and how do I really make their Thanksgiving phenomenal? And so there's a couple of ways I looked at this month. So first of all, 4 wines this month, Trouty, Kyle, 4 wines this month, which is exciting and a good value at $55 delivered. Also, John here, show John, just show his pretty little face. He wants some camera time. He's got that nice little green jacket on. John just did some homework on the internet. The best price before shipping costs, if you went out and bought each of these 4 wines and found them at individual different stores at the best price in the country, is $122. $122 if you found in 4 different stores, I'm gonna assume, and the shipping costs, 1 bottle each. So again, really delivering on my promise for the greatest wine club in the world, $55 delivered. And then I thought about what varietal is underrated in Thanksgiving, and I had this dream, this vision, that how do I throw a ridiculous curveball at people to get them to try something new, to think about something a little bit different, and to take advantage of the Wine Club strategy, which is expanding palates. It's interesting. We went with some wines obviously in the first month. I wanted to really go more international, but here we are again, heavy California on the back end here. Obviously we did Rhone Valley with a monster last month, but what really emerged to me is, holy crap, this is my chance to really take rosé into being a full year beverage in the US. This is my ambition. Much like I had crazy ambitions with Wine Library TV in 2006 and 2007 to get people to drink Tannat and Cabernet Franc and all these things that, very honestly, many of the sommeliers out there did, but I played my little part in getting people to try new things. The second Wine Club is delivering on a dream of mine, which is, how do I get people to understand that rosé is something you don't just drink in the Hamptons in the summer? And so we went interesting. I mean, if you asked me when I started this wine club, would I ever have a pack that would have 2 rosés? I would say maybe if I went hardcore rosé in June, like all rosés. But the fact that we're rolling November, I love this curveball. 2 rosés that I'm excited to introduce you to, including South Africa, the country that I think needs to have more conversation in the US around the wines they're making, really known for a wine called Pinotage. Here we'll talk about a rosé. I have a funny feeling 97% of you have never had a South African rosé, so I'm excited about that. And then on the back end, I'm just ripping people's faces off, to be very frank. You know, a $60, $50 to $60 Chardonnay, if you find it in most stores. One that I'm super excited for you to try, Con Valley being one of my favorite California producers, period, red and white. And then a super hardcore nerd wine. Big shout out to Wine Berserkers Forum. You know, we're still paying attention all these years later. I love the hardcore nature of that forum and their incredible palates and passion. Some of the smartest and brightest wine minds in the world, I think, reside in that old school forum format for all you web kids, Wine Berserkers. I wanted to pick a wine because I've read all your comments about my wine club that I thought you'd be really impressed with, and I rolled in to bring a Pinot Noir that I know most of you would have been happy buying at $55 with free shipping by itself because of the pedigree, and we'll get into Justin's incredible Pinot Noir later, a $60 retail Pinot. Obviously, you know, I'm pretty proud of being able to include these 4 wines together, all for the price of $55 and free shipping. So, wine number 1, the Mas Carlo 2016 Rosé. I'm a huge fan. This is on the edges of the Rhone Valley. So the same place where that red wine that you had last month, 89 points Venice, great score. kind of wine that you can probably find in most stores between $8 and $15 a bottle. And this is 50% Grenache, 40% Syrah, 10% Mourvedre. These are Rhone varietals. Now, a couple things. I expect most of you to pop all 4 of these wines on Thanksgiving. That is my ambition. If you're watching this video before you open the bottles, then, or listening to it on the podcast, my big dream for you is to drink all 4 of these wines during Thanksgiving. You know, most people have friends and family. Some people go to multiple places, however you want to break it up. But please try to drink the 2 rosés next to each other as you try to expand your palate. So let's go into this. Let's go to the sniffy sniff. High vibrance on the nose. I can kind of smell fresh flowers. A little hint of cranberry on the nose. Let's give it a whirl. Shroudy over here works with me. You can show him, Kyle, good job. At VaynerMedia for several years. First met him at the Boston Wine Expo when he was a fan of Wine Library TV. We did Cork, the wine social network together. Then he worked at a great distributor here in New York, Domain Select, friends of mine for a while. Came back, has been at Vayner for the last 5 years or so, but is absolutely the resident VaynerMedia wine nerd. Bobby Catcher, one of the great importers of wine over the last 40 years in America, brings in this incredible Mascarlo. Mascarlo first caught my attention in the early 2000s had some red varietals that were getting 91, 92 point Parker scores for wines that were $8 or $9. I think this is incredibly well made. This is good, right? This is warm too, and we're not easy. Very clean. You may want to chill these when you have them. Beautiful light strawberry, a little hint of red flower. Anything else you picking up on here? Strawberries is really kind of...
Really floral too.
This is good. And this is really good, and here's why this is important. So many of you are gonna go to wine stores and gonna push Gewürztraminer or Riesling for turkey for you and kind of like your crowd on Thanksgiving. To me, what's incredible about rosé is that if most of you blindfolded your friends and poured them a rosé and asked them what it is, they would tell you it's a white wine. I can sit here and easily understand that if I was blindfolded right now, that this wine could trick me into being a white wine. So the pink nature for 20 years in America stopped people from drinking rosé because of White Zinfandel in the 80s and 90s, cheap, crappy, $4 pink wine. Now rosé's hot as hell, it's very trendy, hipster, cool, high-end, nightclub culture, fine. Let's not take away from what it is, which is it's incredibly underpriced wine. This wine will pair absolutely, unbelievably with sweet potato pie, unbelievably with green beans, unbelievably with stovetop stuffing. Unbelievably, like extremely well. With its acid but light fare, I think that this is an incredibly interesting wine for Thanksgiving. I genuinely believe that I am going to single-handedly start the match that people will rally on top of to make rosé a substantial Thanksgiving wine because of the following. Rosé sells throughout the season in the summer, and then there's still rosé in the system. There's rosé in lots of stores right now. Thanksgiving is close enough, it hasn't gone bad, and I just think rosé is gonna rally and be a Thanksgiving staple. And so I'm excited about kind of like pointing back to this video one day and saying, oh, here's the seed of why rosé exploded as a Thanksgiving wine. This one being incredibly well made, super impressed with that wine, especially for the price point. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. Gonna rinse here a little bit. We're gonna move over into the Blackwater. Here we go, Blackwater, Lazy Lucy, 2017 rosé. And this is mainly Cinsault, is that right, Trout?
Mainly Cinsault, yep.
Anything else? Do you have any data there?
Grenache,
Little Grenache.
Chenin Blanc, 10%.
Little Chenin Blanc. I like a little white there. Now, Trout, you're a hardcore wine guy. You don't have to lie to be cool. Have you had a lot of South African rosé?
No.
Have you ever had one? Maybe.
Yeah, maybe, but.
Now the first thing, so this is a wine that comes in about $12, $13. I've seen as high as 16 in certain stores. Wow, really interesting nose. I really like what's going on here. This is more complex on the nose. A little, almost like a melon citrus meets cherry on the nose. Let's give it a whirl. Bigger. Really, really good.
I would never buy this wine off the shelf.
I would never.
It's delicious.
You love it?
Yeah.
I'm really excited for you guys to try this. I feel like this is gonna be a thing on Instagram where you guys are gonna be like, holy crap. Well, I'm gonna use a new hashtag. Make that note to Brandon. I'm gonna use a new hashtag on this month's wine club. So I'll be looking for your reviews on Blackwater. As a matter of fact, everybody listening or watching, specifically take a picture of this Blackwater and leave your 3 cents on it and use the hashtag because I want to kind of get the feedback from you guys on Instagram. I think this is very thick. The viscosity of this wine's incredible. It feels like a red wine, like on your palate. Reminded me weirdly enough of some Beaujolais, which is interesting to me. Red Beaujolais, by the way. High complexity, incredibly intriguing finish. Almost earthy, almost leathery, almost gamey. This almost weirdly feels like, and of course this is how your brain works, God, it's smooth, man. This is almost like an imaginary blend between a Sancerre and a rhinoceros pooping on you, on a safari in Africa. Like, this is really good stuff. This is really good stuff. To me, if this was Wine Library TV, I would have rated this wine like a 91. This is completely catching me off guard, super steal. Hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. And there it is, 2 rosés, bring them, I was gonna say, that they were for green beans and I was gonna say what I said earlier about the Mascarlo. The Mascarlo doesn't have the intensity or the structure, I think, to really stand up to a dry bird, and I don't care how juicy your bird is. Turkey is dry. This Blackwater rosé, if you're liking it, feel free to pour that second glass and actually use it with your main turkey dish at Thanksgiving, because it will hold. It will hold. That was good. That was better than when I first tasted it. That's a really good one. All right, here we go. Let's move on. Now the wine that I'm kind of weirdly most excited about you guys having. Unlike most wines that I'm having in the wine club, this one I was so blown away with. I bought way more than I needed. So Wine Library's gonna sit with a lot of this above and beyond. Usually the wine club takes 80, 90, 100% of the wine. For example, we almost have to cut off November just to make sure everybody gets this. Or like the Crutz Chardonnay from last month, we stopped taking October wine. This one, I was so taken back by, I was fine with buying the extra 300 cases that we didn't need. This is the Con Valley, 2015 Napa Valley, Anderson Con Valley, 2015 Napa Valley Chardonnay, located in St. Helena, malolactic fermentation, super golden. This wine is suggested retail 60. I think you see it in that $48 range, $40 range. We've sold prior vintages for 45. We'll probably sell this one at a lower cost because we got a lot of it, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure Brandon hasn't done that yet. 90 points, Antonio Galloni, who's a very tough critic of California Chardonnay. Really golden, incredibly buttery, Rombauer-y, Kistler-y, Peter Michael-y, for all the wine nerds listening right now. On the nose, it's got that kind of style, which I like, weirdly enough. I used to not. I mean, this is California Chardonnay, right? Now, unlike the Crutz last month, where that had more Chablis-like, more kind of acidity, stony, this is a big wine. It's big. I feel like, yep, more hair on the chest. This is the kind of wine that puts a little hair on the chest. Very creamy, butterscotch, oaky, woody. I feel like I bit an oak tree and then melted butter and splashed it in my mouth. Very high structured California Chardonnay. This is absolutely a wine that you can have with a Thanksgiving meal. Trouty, 2 California Chardonnay for you, it's okay. Don't worry, don't.
I usually drink, but not.
Show 'em. You don't drink Cali Chards. You're more of a Chablis, Merceau. You're like a wine nerd. You're like the guys I don't like.
Right.
Right. But for you, it's not superly over oak. It actually calms down on the finish. The mid palate has more of that oak going on.
It's more aggressive on the nose than it is on the palate.
Yeah, the nose. I was a little worried a little bit. Like the nose was a little bit too popcorny, too vanilla. Todd Anderson has been making founded this winery, that family has been making some of the most interesting wines in California for a long time, in my opinion. I'm a huge fan of this vineyard, and if you're a West Coast individual, you should absolutely visit this winery. They make incredible wines across the board. This is an absolutely well-structured, massive California Chardonnay that, to me, has 91 to 93 point type capabilities in it, depending on the critic. For context, and to me, this is just this has got a little more complexity than a Rombauer, but still has that buttery, oaky California sunshine that shoots right through your chest that everybody who likes that style loves. I'm a fan. It's really good. Big. And finally, the crown jewel of November. Now this, for all of you novices, you heard me reference Wine Berserkers, really kind of hardcore nerdy wine forum. As a kid, I was on the kind of prodigy Robert Parker boards, which later became the Mark Squires boards. Bulletin boards for tech culture have always been big. They keep that tradition over at Wine Berserkers. Big shout out to all you guys. Hope you guys are all doing well and your families are doing well. And so I really wanted to have a wine each month that makes all the hardest core, nerdiest, cynical, but respectful wine critics say, oh crap, I'm gonna sign up for the Gary V Wine Club. I've got something really brewing for January that is like, I'm excited. I genuinely give a lot of thought to what the $55 price point for you newbies, a great way to try a lot of stuff, but for like Trouty, who, oh by the way, is not signed up for the Wine Club. Show his face, Kyle. Shame on him, not signed. Tyler, I just told him that Trouty is not signed up for the Wine Club.
I'm signing up right now.
You better do it. Like, start doing it right now.
Okay.
Put your credit card in right now. Good. And the reason he's doing it, most likely, is not because we're shaming him. It's because the Wenslau 2013 Santa Rita Hills Pinot Noir. I mean, you're talking about a 92 point Advocate, right? Wine. Does that mean Dunnick? Take a look.
Yeah.
$60 SRP. What was the best price you found on this in the country? Do you know?
$50 is the lowest.
50?
Yeah, 50
right.
to $63.
50 to 63. Only 293 cases made of this wine. And Justin's just a great somm who's now making great wine. And I'm super excited about this. It's a Pinot Noir. I think as much as Zinfandel gets put on the pedestal as the red wine for Thanksgiving, for the last 4 or 5 years I've drank Burgundy or Pinot Noir, and it has absolutely been better for me. I'm more excited about it, and I'm really, really, really proud to have this wine anchor November's Wine Club, because, again, you'll pay $55 delivered to your house just for this wine, let alone the rest. So I'm excited about it. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Really kind of intrigued. That's interesting. Still closed. You know, this is a young wine. Right away, my first recommendation, if you're watching or listening to this video before, is get as much breathing as possible. As a matter of fact, if you're just popping this and watching to see what I said, it's okay to like open a different wine and let this sit like this on your counter until tomorrow, because this is a very big nose, still a little tight, young. This is a wine that I'm okay if you want to put away for a year or 2 or 5. Or, for example, I just want to make sure, 2013, or if you got married in 2013 or had a child in 2013, right on the nose, just on the nose, I feel like this is a wine you'll be able to save. Though, as I'm beating it up a little bit, I'm starting to open up a little. The cola and the raspberry hit me a little bit there. Cola for sure.
Black tea.
Black tea, I like that. You know what's funny? Black tea and cola, I think a lot of times have a, depending on your nose. Let's give it a whirl. Well, that's some good juice. Burgundian. To me in a blind tasting, this could have tricked me. Oh, welcome to the club, Trouty. Burgundian in its nature, beef jerky, gamey, you know, a little like, almost like, you know, biting into a pheasant while still alive, that kind of gaminess, like very raw on the mid palate, like that kind of little, yeah. Yeah, you've never bitten a bird while it was alive to like eat it?
No, not yet.
Even dressed up as a pirate here for Halloween?
Wizard pirate.
Wizard pirate, I apologize. Very gamey, ripe cherry, cola, high acid, high tannins, but integrated unbelievably well into the fruit. You know what this has? This has a little bit of what a lot of people call as like forest brush or forest floor. If you're an 80s kid and used to go out in the woods and like you tripped and like you bit, you know when you were like running through the woods, 80s kids now, a lot of you are youngsters on this, you didn't play outside as much as we did. I feel like I'm running with Robbie Turnick in the woods of Edison, New Jersey. I've tripped, I've hit my face, I've got soil, dirt, leaves, and a little bit of my own blood mixed in. That's what I'm tasting on this wine, which as you can imagine is intriguing as a reminiscing of my childhood, and also I'm intrigued because so many of you said, what the hell did he just say? But that is the flavor profile. There's a gaminess, an earthiness, and a fruitness that I think weirdly blood gives you that in this wine. This is spectacular. I have a mission to create the greatest wine club in the world. I believe that in November, by having you discover that rosé can be with Thanksgiving food and wait till you pair it with your Thanksgiving meal, I think for all of you that love and adore wines like Rombauer and Kistler, to find a new producer that's producing wines that I think are on that path, if not slightly better. And then for all you wine nerds or hardcore Pinot Noir lovers, to have a true $50, $60 Pinot Noir that probably is drinking more like a $75 to $100 Pinot Noir is the mission accomplished. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have the greatest Thanksgiving ever. Please use the hashtag on Instagram so I can see what your thoughts are on these wines. And specifically, I want everybody, all 3,000 of you, to talk about Blackwater Rosé. Please pass on the wine club to your friends. This will be the greatest wine club in the world.